Hi, thanks for joining me on this journey in the Essential Guide to CBD. We are on letter T and traumatic brain injury and stroke. This is really interesting. Traumatic brain injury, or TBI as it's called, is one of the leading causes of death worldwide in people under the age of 45. Many who survive head injuries suffer permanent behavioral and neurological impairment that adversely impacts learning and memory and often requires long-term rehabilitation. An estimated 5.3 million Americans are living with a TBI-related disability. Even so-called mild cases of TBI can result in post-traumatic seizures, impaired brain functions, and lower life expectancy. People can also suffer an acquired or non-traumatic injury, such as the case of stroke, which causes similar damage to the brain by internal factors like lack of blood flow and oxygen, which is called ischemia. Cannabinoids like THC and CBD may reduce the trauma and the symptoms that follow brain injury thanks to their positive interaction with the endocannabinoid system. A 2011 article in the British Journal of Pharmacology describes the endocannabinoid system as a self-protective mechanism that kicks into high gear in response to a stroke or TBI, the traumatic brain injury. Co-authored by Israeli scientist Raphael Mekulam, PhD, the article notes that endocannabinoid levels in the brain increase significantly during and immediately after a TBI. These endogenous, meaning we produce it ourselves, compounds activate CB1 and CB2 receptors, which protect against TBI-induced neurological or motor effects. By manipulating the endocannabinoid system with cannabinoids, medical scientists have been able to reduce brain injury in animal experiments. According to a 2010 report in the British Journal of Pharmacology, CBD can limit the amount of damaged tissue and help normalize the heart rhythm disturbances like arrhythmia that are common after a closed head injury. CBD has been shown to reduce brain damage and improve functional recovery in animal studies of stroke and TBI. A damaged brain can be remarkably plastic, but there is only a limited window of opportunity, generally thought of as 10 to 60 minutes, for therapeutic interventions to prevent, attenuate, or delay a degenerative domino effect of brain cell death and damage to protective blood-brain barrier that occurs during a secondary injury cascade, a wave of further damage that occurs as a result of the lack of blood flow to the brain following the initial injury. CBD expands that window of opportunity. Researchers have learned that CBD can convey potent, long-lasting neuroprotection, that's brain, if given shortly or as much as 12 hours after the onset of ischemia. That's where that lack of oxygen and blood flow. CBD has been shown to reduce brain damage and improve functional recovery in animal studies of stroke and TBI. In 2016, scientists at the University of Nottingham in the UK reported that CBD shields the protective blood-brain barrier from damaging effects of lack of oxygen and fuel after an injury. CBD prevents your blood-brain barrier from being damaged and becoming more permeable by activating the 5-HTIA serotonin receptor and the PPAR gamma nuclear receptor. CBD also protects the brain by increasing the concentration of endocannabinoids in the brain. The researchers at University of Nottingham have also conducted preclinical animal or laboratory research that examined the anti-inflammatory neuroprotective effects of cannabidiolic acid, CBDA, that's the raw form of CBD, the raw unheated version of CBD found in cannabis plant. Like CBD, the researchers concluded CBDA is effective in reducing blood-brain permeability and inflammation in cellular model of stroke. CBD and CBDA both restore blood-brain barrier integrity by activating the 5-HTIA serotonin receptor, which mediates CBD's and CBDA's anti-inflammatory effects. So this makes sense. If you go back, I went over epilepsy and seizures and how helpful that is to that. Nausea can also be helped with CBDA. CBDA is very good for a lot of things, but not everybody has it. Several athletes claim that CBD can help ameliorate the lingering neurological problems associated with chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. You may have heard about that because it's been there was actually a movie about it recently about football players having CTE, and the movie they made about that. A particularly severe form of TBI caused by the accumulation of numerous concussions. CTE increases the risk of neurological problems later in life and hastens the progression of dementia. The anecdotal benefits of CBD-rich cannabis oil for CTE are well known among football players, boxers, and other professional athletes who are prone to head injuries. So why isn't it widely accepted that sports players should be able to take CBD? It's especially if it doesn't have THC in it where it's making them high. Clearly, it's just going to make your endocannabinoid system better, but not give you an advantage with strength and everything else. It's just going to help you heal better. I think people need to look at this. The 2019 Project CBD survey found that among people using CBD for brain injury, CBD proved most helpful for relieving headaches, irritability, and agitation. CBD was less helpful for balance issues. In a small percentage of participants, CBD seemed to in a small percentage of participants, CBD seemed to make issues with memory, concentration, and self-expression worse, but it's unclear if that was the result of CBD or THC or if there was other unknown factors at work. So it's interesting. I'm a big fan of healing the body naturally, and I firmly believe that helping support your endocannabinoid system, like we support everything else in the body, is great. And if you do it from a natural source, like a clean, healthy plant, and you know where it's coming from, you know the company that's putting it together, this can be tremendous for a lot of people. There's a lot of sports players, you have high school players playing soccer and hitting the ball with their head, and football players and boxers and all those people always having head injuries. Might be worthwhile. It's definitely worth looking into. So be sure to be consistent with your CBD. Be sure you know the quality. If you need help, I'm happy to help you. Thanks for listening.